I think Joe Biden's right. We're not going to negotiate it. We'll hear what they've got to say, and we should. The CARES Act cost money. They voted for it on the other side. They voted for more military spending. So we're going to cut veterans' benefits and Social Security and Medicare? The debt ceiling is the weaponization of our responsibilities.
The last 2 years have been the most productive in Congress for maybe the last 20. And there were 7, I was counting up last night, there were 7 major bills passed. 5 of them were entirely bipartisan. 2 of them were the Democrats did it by themselves because they had the votes. But the CHIPS and Science Act, the infrastructure bill, 2 major budgets, the PACT Act for veterans, the defense of the Respect for Marriage Act, all of those were entirely bipartisan.
Bottom line is, we understand and we're beginning to take steps to really build up our military-industrial base ammunition, not just in the United States, but in close allies. Great Britain, Canada, Australia, NATO countries.
Okay, you want to repeat the question? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Did you see it coming? Did you see it coming?
Yes, I mean, I think we all knew that this day was coming. That's what happens when you weaken the speaker role, which Kevin did. Right when he took. That's actually how he ascended to speaker, was by making all these backroom deals, and certainly the rules package that he passed through the Republican conference put him on a glide path to the moment that we saw last week.
I think it's important for us to support the Ukrainians who have been so courageous against Vladimir Putin, because if we allow a dictator like Putin to arbitrarily go into another country, there's no telling where he's going to stop. Now, I can tell you, I hear from the leaders in the Baltic states, from Poland, from Eastern Europe, who say, we support NATO. We're all in to support the Ukrainians because we know Putin's not going to stop. And I can tell you, it's a much better investment for us to support Ukraine than for us to ultimately have to send our men and women to fight overseas.
Someone asked me why I was running. And I told them, I said, my parents came here 50 years ago to an America that was strong and proud and full of opportunities. I want them to see that America again. I'm doing this for my husband and his military brothers and sisters. They need to know their sacrifice meant something. They need to know we love our country and that freedom matters. I'm doing this for my daughter who just got married, and I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home. And I'm doing this for my son who's a junior in college, and I see him writing papers of things he doesn't believe in just to get an A. That's not us.
One of the reasons why I'm running for president, from my creating opportunities and the goose that lays the golden eggs, is focusing on our economy. I think we have to build as Americans and not borrow as Americans. And when we build as Americans, we can actually bring back factories that have been lost for decades now. We've lost over 100,000 manufacturing locations in the last 25 years. We can bring those back to our nation by following my Made in America plan that would lower taxes. It would allow for immediate expensing and depreciation to put the resources up front so that factory owners would want to build here in our nation.
I'm really a testament to the American dream, because a lot of people would not have bet their chips that I would end up be running for president, be elected governor, any of this stuff. Certainly I would not have predicted that at the time. And I'm running for president now because I think we're in danger of being the first generation of Americans that are going to leave to our kids and grandkids in America that's less prosperous and less free than the one that we inherited. You look what's happening in the world. You look at our economic problems at home. You look at the state of our cities. You look at all these issues. We see the country in a period of decline.
Some of you may have read yesterday, we made an announcement that in the wake of a really crazy decision by a handpicked judge in Amarillo, Texas. There are these groups out there. I used to be a lawyer. So what you do is you see some of these organizations out there judge shopping, and they found the one federal district court judge in Amarillo, Texas, who was put there by a former president because of his anti-abortion record, who then, as we know last week, essentially tried to ban mifepristone, which has been the gold standard for medication abortion, which is the way in which the vast majority of abortions are actually performed in this country. He found a way to try to ban that. And so we took action as a state. We'd been anticipating this, our administration, and we worked quickly with the University of Massachusetts to essentially stockpile doses so women here or women who may come here won't have to worry about receiving care. I'm grateful to the University of Massachusetts for its partnership. And Good. I'm glad you feel that way.
We know that strengthening our workforce overall means plugging gaps in our childcare and BPS school and education system to address the fact that the pandemic has dealt an enormous blow to working families, particularly working women, particularly those with kids under the age of 10, and for families who are looking to grow, put down roots, and surround their children with opportunities. So we've invested millions in making dozens of new pre-K classrooms free for families across the city, and partnered with community organizations and colleges to fund hundreds of new certificates, degrees, and licensure programs for early childhood educators to bolster Boston's early ed workforce and fill gaps that we see right now in our neighborhoods, all tuition free for those participants.
This speech was already too long, but there was so much I wanted to talk about. But I do want to say on this, if I were doing the longer version of this, the next thing would have been transportation. And a pitch I keep making, I sit on the banking committee, but I make this pitch over and over and over. Transportation is housing, and housing is transportation. If we've got a transit system that works, it gets people to their jobs, it actually helps reduce the pressure. If we can build up supply, reduces the pressure on housing and helps us bring down costs.
The SUPPORT Act, which we passed in 2018, dramatically increased resources to communities all over the country to build up the kind of treatment and recovery infrastructure that we need. In New Hampshire's case, that resulted in a 9-fold increase in funding. Now, we got to reauthorize the SUPPORT Act. It expired at the end of September. We have more work to do in terms of building up workforce and giving the system a sense of stability and sustainability. And we can talk more in further discussion about some of our efforts to do that.